Hi, I'm Robin Richelic of the Law of Attraction Club. Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part series in which we're looking at new ways of discussing, thinking about the law of attraction. What we're seeking to do here is to better understand the rules of this game we call life on Earth. And if we can do that, we can step into some new possibilities for changing our lives, for stepping into a new world created by choice. Since starting this community in early 2008, we've had an unprecedented ability to go back and forward on a daily basis with Tara and to really get to the question behind the question, to get to the yes, but how can that be question. And we've had some major shifts in our understanding, and we've learned some new things, and we're going to share some of those with you here today. Firstly, let's look at the classic definition of the law of attraction. It goes like this. We attract into our experience that which we give our energy, focus, and attention, whether wanted or unwanted. And that's a good definition as far as it goes, because it sets out the basics here. Everything in your experience is a match to your current point of attraction, your vibrational set point. The limitation I'd submit to you is that it suggests also that this vibrational set point that we have is a function of our focus and attention. In other words, our current conscious thinking. But is that true? Many times in this club we've had people come to us and say, but I was feeling so good and then the sky fell on me. If this law of attraction stuff really works, how can that be so? You may have had similar experience. For many of us, it's difficult to draw a line between what we're currently focused on, what our current thinking is, and what's showing up in our reality. And so what happens is people tend to fall into two camps. First camp says, well, of course, that must mean that the law of attraction is not the only force at play here. Other things like luck and fate and star signs and other cosmic laws have an effect. Other people have an effect. And by the time you've finished with that, the law of attraction basically means nothing. Or there's the camp that says, yes, the law of attraction is true. But then with this difficulty of drawing the line, but connecting the dots here, they start to introduce terms like manifestational lag, so that there's a lag between what you create and what you manifest. And what you create is put into some so-called storage area, like a vibrational escrow, for example, and you draw from that into your experience by allowing, by getting into a place of allowing, or by getting to a place of detachment away from the needs, the wants to have this. Now, once again, these concepts are good. I mean, they're good basic concepts. But is there a better way of describing it, perhaps? Bashar is a channeled entity, and I saw a recent video of him on the web, and I really liked the analogy he used to describe the way this all works. That life is like a mirror here, and it feeds back to you what's in front of it. So you can't complain to the mirror that the image you see is not smiling, because it's reflecting back to you what you are. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you smile, of course, it's going to reflect back to you that image in real time. So, what is it reflecting? What part of us is this thing reflecting? Is life feeding back to us? Try this. Look at this video. I just hold your gaze on it for a minute and see what you see in your surrounding area, in the peripheral vision that you have. Now, I can see a window, a desk, a light. You can probably see many things. I can see probably 50 things that I can name here. Can you see that a lot of information is coming to you? Think about what you can hear. You can hear this audio perhaps, but unless you're in a very quiet area, you'll hear background noise, traffic or people or animals or things or wind in the trees and so on. Think about what you can feel. You can feel your feet on the floor or in your shoes. You can probably feel your bum on the seat. You can feel the clothing on you. You can feel the air as you draw it into your nose when you're breathing. So we have all this information coming at us every second, deluge of information. Now the scientists tell us that our subconscious, which is dealing with all this information, is about 100 to 1,000 times more powerful than our conscious thinking mind. So here we are with a subconscious that is dealing with all of this stuff. Remember when you went back to learn to drive a car, when you first got in and you had to consciously drive the car. Everything, the steering, the brakes, the gears, the watching the road, where you have to be, how fast you're going, where you are going, and so on. All of this in conscious mind. A pretty daunting experience. Then a month later, much of that is now being taught to your subconscious, and so you're starting to relax and get easier about this. A year later, you think very little about consciously driving. When you go from A to B, most of it is just automatic. Your subconscious knows what it's doing, and it's taken over. Also, you could try this. Move something you use a lot, like a waste paper basket. Move it from, say, the left to the right place. You know consciously you've moved it. If someone said to you, where's your waste paper basket now? You could say, I moved it yesterday over to the right side of my desk. Now, your subconscious knows, however, that it's in that former location where it used to be. And if you don't think that's true, you wait until you're not thinking about something and you screw up the paper and you're ready to throw it, you'll throw it back to the old location. And you'll continue to do that. Maybe for 2 weeks, maybe for 3 weeks, but eventually you'll learn. Because each time you make that mistake, you're in fact starting to teach your subconscious this new knowing, this new knowledge that the waste paper basket is now over here on the right. So, Neale Donald Walsch, in his last channeled book, Home with God, in Conversations with God, Home with God, he talks about the following: that hope is the doorway to belief, belief is the doorway to knowing, and knowing is the doorway to manifestation. So, hope, belief, knowing, and manifestation. Now let's look at this knowing piece, what we know. And clearly what we know is much more than we're consciously thinking about. What we know is huge. If we asked you to write now everything that you know about yourself, about the world, animals, plants, trees, the sun, stars, moon, governments, countries, if we asked you to write down what you know, you'd be writing until the day you die. You know an awful lot. So, from that knowledge, from that knowing, you have formed a set of expectations about the way this world works. You are in fact expecting everything as a result of that knowledge. These expectations flow from that knowledge. So we would add one step to the Neale Donald Walsch step here. What you hope for is the doorway to what you believe. What you believe is the doorway to what you know. And from there you go to unconscious automatic expectation, which is the same thing as manifestation. So this unconscious, subconscious part of you that knows all of this stuff, you know what to expect. This is the place you create from. This is what the mirror is reflecting back to you. So let's suggest some new wording for the law of attraction here. And it goes like this. You attract into your experience that which you expect, consciously or unconsciously. And your expectations are the result of what you choose to believe, choose to know. So here is the place from which we're creating. This is what the mirror that is life is reflecting back to us from. It is from that greater knowing, that greater subconscious knowing of all that we expect, all that we expect. Can we change that? Of course we can change it. We're always at choice. But instead of this conscious focus and attention being a direct change to our vibrational set point, what it is that we are doing, even as in that waste paper basket example, each time we correct where it's going, we start to repaint that image. We start to change what we know back in that subconscious area. And so we change it by our focus and attention, but it may not be instantaneous. And that's where the lags come in. And once you understand that, whenever you have a question about what you're creating, just stop for a minute and think, what do I expect? What do I really expect of the world, of these people, of that person in this situation? And when you understand that, you'll understand how it is that you're creating what you're creating. So that was a big aha for us, that what we know and expect is in fact where we're creating from. So if you expect that the world is this way, that's what shows up. If you expect that this person is this way, that's what shows up. If you expect there'll be surprises on occasion, that's what will show up. If you expect that there will be calamity and disasters on occasion, that's what will show up. I'm going to make an outlandish statement here. The only reason the world you wake up in seems to be the same as the one you went to sleep in is your knowing, your expectation that it will be. In the LOA Club, we've got a 3-month program we call Create Your Life. And this has evolved from a 1-month program and so on. And what we're really doing here, and it's been phenomenally successful, is teaching people to change what they know. And not just change it from a conscious perspective, but locking it back into that subconscious, making it a new habit of thought, a new habit of thought to replace an old habit of thought. You are the sum of your habits of thought. And you can pick which ones you want to change, and you can change them. So, in the next video, which is part 3 of the 3-part series, our final video, we'll be talking about another big aha we had, which relates to the nature of reality. And we'll talk to the subject of, but what about those other people out there creating, don't they affect my world? The answer is yes and no. Anyhow, we'll see you on the next video.